clear. Hey, welcome. It's Tuesday. Tuesdays with Tish. I don't have like a theme song. But if you're watching live, I want to know that you're watching live, so type live. If you're watching the replay, type replay, hashtag replay. I like to see who's watching and when. I think that's kind of cool. I get a lot of people that watch the replay. That's great. Hopefully my lens is clean. I don't like a dirty lens. I'm gonna give you all a second to come in, a couple minutes to get in here. We'll listen to Fuego by Mini Producer. Paid music. I paid for this. And then after that, I'm gonna eat and relax a little bit from the day and do some more strategy. All right, where are you all at? Here they come. If you're watching live, type live. If you're watching the replay, type replay. Or, you know, if you're watching live, you don't have to type live. You could type hi or some other nice greeting. Hola, what's up? Or some people say sup and they go like this. Or you could do that, but I won't be able to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I see you all. Tonight we're going to talk about feedback. There's a scripture for that ready. I'm gonna make sure I tell you who I am. I'm Letitia Randolph, because sometimes I forget. And I only painted 2 nails. I gotta paint the rest, don't tell anybody. But we're gonna get started here in just a moment. I'm just giving you all a chance to come in and tell me you're here. Say hello, I wanna know you're here. I really feel like this lens is dirty. It doesn't seem as clear as it should. Maybe I should put my glasses on today. Or I could just wipe the frame. Oh, I see some likes coming up. Yeah, likes are good too. I'm gonna wipe this and see if it gets any better. I think it did. I think it got better. All right. This song kind of sounds the same the whole time. Well, we're gonna get started because I wanna eat. I'm hungry, kind of have a headache. I need some water. All right, let's get started, everybody. It's a beautiful Tuesday. This song's almost over anyway. We'll let it fade on out. I'll just let it go on out while we get started. So, my name is Letitia Randolph. I am the mother of 3 and the wife of 1. I am a business owner. I work for myself. If you need help with anything legal, identity theft, protection, business, legal stuff, whatever, I got you. My husband has a t-shirt business. It's called Righteous Attire. Go, please check it out. RighteousAttire.biz, non-cheesy Christian t-shirts. Hey sis, my sister's on here. And let's see what else. I am a Toastmaster, so if you need help with any type of public speaking, we are the place to be. I am a church leader. I shouldn't really just be a church leader. I'm a Christian. And so you can join us on Facebook, Center of Hope KC, baby. Come on through in person or online. Every day we have morning man. We have all kinds of things. What else am I a part of? Oh, I am also a part of the world's leading referral organization. It's called BNI. So if you want to see if we have a spot for you, let me know. We can help you here in Kansas City with some business. And if you're far away, I can tell you how to get connected to someone in your area. If you're a business owner, it's a great way to network and meet people. So those are my 4 core, okay? Those are the 4 core things I do, plus what my husband does. You can find me on LinkedIn, Twitter, but don't look for me there because I don't tweet. That's my little joke. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe. I got 1 more subscriber since last time, so I know somebody went. And then where's the rest of the people? They'll come in after a while. All right, today we're talking about feedback. The title of this particular Tuesdays with Tish is Feedback is Your Friend. Feedback is your friend. I'm going to tell you how, but I'm going to start with, there's a scripture for that. There's a scripture for that. The scripture is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 5. It says, a wise man, which is man or woman, a wise man will hear and increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain to wise counsels. A wise man will hear, which means to listen, and will increase learning. And a man of understanding shall attain to wise counsel. The other scripture that I like that talks about feedback is Proverbs 4, verse 7, it says, get wisdom, get understanding. No, it says, wisdom is a principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get an understanding. Okay? So those are my 2 scriptures for tonight. And in short, it's good to have wise counsel It's good to have wisdom, and it's good to listen and hear and increase your learning and your understanding, which is, I think, is what we're doing tonight. So let's talk about feedback. If you think about the term, I didn't look it up like some of my friends, I didn't look it up. Feedback is when someone tells you how something went, right? They're getting back to you on how something went. And people a lot of times seek it out. I want to give you some examples of feedback. If you've ever been to a business and they ask you to take a survey, that is feedback. Mid-year reviews at work, if you work in a corporate world or any type of place where your boss reviews you, like 360s, and there's some other review things that you can do, that's feedback. Your boss is giving you feedback. Report cards for kids or people that are in school, that is feedback on how you're doing in that class. Customer experience, when someone says, I'd like to find out what your experience was like as a customer, that's feedback. Taste test, when you have someone that has maybe a cake. My friend, shout out to Gia Turk, she makes the best. Her name of her business is Tasty Bunts. They are good. She has little peach cobbler cakes. I know I shouldn't really eat them all the time, but they're so good. Maybe she'll bring me one on Thursday when I meet with one of her friends. But they're really good. So if she were to have a tasting test and ask people to taste it, that would be an opportunity for them to give her feedback. Does it taste good? Do you like it? Is it too sweet? Is it too salty, or whatever? And then you got evaluations of any kind, and even Google reviews are feedback, right? Someone is giving you feedback. And sometimes it's not fair because people go on Google and they just say any old kind of thing. But sometimes it's valid, right? People really are having experiences and they're sharing with us. So I want to give you an example of one of my best experiences with feedback. I joined Toastmasters in 2017, I think it was. It's been 3 years and some change, so almost 4 years. And I gave my very first speech. Okay, for those who don't know, Toastmasters is a public speaking and leadership organization. So I gave my very first speech, and it was about my journey in learning Spanish. In that speech, I called it, "Where'd you learn that at? Where'd you learn that at?" And I talked about how I learned Spanish in the 7th grade, and then I went to high school and college and studied abroad and taught it and all of those things. And then just kind of went through this whole journey and had this purple dress on. I was telling the story about why my brother-in-law bought me that purple dress, etc. I went through this whole thing, and it turned out to be a good speech. When it was over, in Toastmasters, they give you an evaluation. There's a person who is designated to tell you how your speech went, what you could work on, etc. Well, they knew when I stood up there and I was speaking that I was not a new speaker. It wasn't my first time. I didn't have stage fright or anything like that. So my feedback was a little bit different, and I was excited to hear it. The first thing the evaluator said to me was, "You speak very quickly." And I don't know if that's a California thing or what. It might be a girl thing. He said, "You speak very quickly, and we understand everything that you're saying, but it's just a little too fast. So you speak very clearly, but too fast. We need you to slow it down." Okay, feedback taken, right? So the second thing, or one of the other things that they told me was, when you're speaking, because I had all these little props, I had this little Fidel Castro from when I was in Cuba, and I had like this award that I got at one of the jobs that I worked at, and I had this whole table full of props. And so I put them behind the podium. So every time I got ready to pull one of the props out, which I thought was a fun way for me to tell everybody what I was doing, every time I pulled one out, I would go under the podium, and I was still talking under the podium while I pulled the props out. And they said, and I know it's such a simple little thing, they said, but when you are speaking, you have to be aware of what your voice is doing. So when you go under the podium, you shouldn't be talking. Gosh, that was such a good tip. I was like, okay, didn't think about that because I'm still talking. They can't hear me the same. The other thing they said was, I don't know about that title. Where'd you learn that at? It's kind of a boring title. It wasn't the great or the greatest or the best fit. And so the evaluator says, I would have you consider calling your speech "The Lady in the Purple Dress." Ooh, because I was wearing the purple dress that my brother-in-law had bought me, right? You should call it the lady in the purple dress, because that's going to add some mystery to it. And then you can really just lead up through your speech to why you're wearing the purple dress and what it has to do with the fact that you speak Spanish. I'm trying to think, what else did they tell me? Those were kind of the top 3 or 4 things that they told me. So I took that feedback and I gave another speech. I went back, I got my notebook. I actually remember sitting with my friend Marty. I went back, I wrote out a different intro that included the color purple in my dress. I changed the title to The Lady in the Purple Dress. I made sure that I didn't put anything even behind the podium. I put it all out in the front. That was another thing they told me. Put all my props out in the front. And I told the story with the mystery kind of leading up to the purple dress and why my brother bought it for me. He bought it for me because he had forgotten his medicine here in the United States, and I spoke Spanish, and I got his medicine equivalent and had it delivered to his hotel. It was this great thing. He was like, do you want a dress or do you want some jewelry? And I was like, bring me a dress, because no one else is going to have that dress, right? So I told the whole story, and when I gave the speech a second time, it was way better than the first time, and I learned how to slow down a little bit. And as I stayed in Toastmasters, I learned how to use vocal variety. I learned how to pause instead of saying and ah and, because that's something that I do. I just a little stretch word in between instead of pausing. And Toastmasters has helped me with that from all the feedback that I've gotten from the speeches that I've given since I've been there. So I took that feedback and it helped me become a better speaker. And I stayed in Toastmasters, and I will stay in Toastmasters because it gives me feedback. And now when I'm able to present and talk to people, it's better than it used to be because I took that feedback. One of the things that I learned from, and I'm not going to say their name because I don't know if I'm allowed to, but I learned from one of the world champions of public speaking about feedback, was that sometimes you'll get feedback from people and maybe it doesn't quite match what you had as far as your goal is concerned. So they may say that your speech was horrible, they didn't like it. They may say just things that aren't relevant to your speech. And he says what he does is, instead of taking everybody's feedback for truth, he'll take note of it. And if it comes up several times, because that, world champion of public speaking is a pretty big deal. If the same theme comes up several times, then he will definitely consider it. Or he says, you need to know who you're getting that feedback from. Kind of like the scripture said today, wise counsel, right? So he says, if it's from someone that I highly respect, that's a really good public speaker, then I may consider their feedback more heavily than someone else who is not. The other thing that I thought he said that I thought was really good was for maybe some family members who aren't really public speakers or they don't do a lot of that. He says he asked his mom and his sister to tell him if he was his authentic self when he's on the stage. I thought that was a really good way to get feedback from your family, because they know you and they know if you're being fake and if you came across as fake. And so he asked them, hey, was I the real person that you know me to be, or was I acting like or being someone else? So that's how he uses feedback. And the last thing that I learned from, not just from him, but in general, is there's a person that we don't ask for feedback from enough. It's one person that we should be asking for feedback from. Matter of fact, I got a prop for that. Let me get it. Look in there. You. We don't get feedback from ourselves a lot because we don't want to listen to ourselves. We don't want to see how we did. We just want to let it be over. Some of us are a little afraid of that. What I do, what I've learned to do, and I hope that you will too, is to actually go back and give myself feedback in life, period, right? Like we talked about last week, if you're late, go back and see, why was I late? What were the things that caused me to be late? And evaluate yourself. So when this is over, I'm going to listen to it. And I'm going to say, I probably shouldn't have done this at that time, or this for that long, or maybe I need to get started sooner, or whatever. Or you forgot to tell the people your name, Letitia. So I'll go back and watch my videos. I will go back and listen to my recordings, because even a moment ago, I gave a testimonial on a huge Zoom with like 300 and something women. And my part was only like a minute and a half, but I recorded it because I want to see, how did I sound? How did I come across when I gave that short snippet of a testimonial? I'll go back and watch my sermons when I preach at church to see if it lined up right. I'll go back and listen to my singing when I sing, if it's recorded. Hey, you missed a note. I'll listen back to see if or how that went for me. So I'm not afraid to give myself feedback or to look at it. And I'm not afraid of getting feedback from my friends, from my colleagues, from my fellow Toastmasters, from my people at church, even from you. I'll ask, hey, what stuck out for you? What was it that really helped you in what I said? Sometimes it's something you never even thought of before. And so when you allow yourself to get feedback, when you welcome feedback, it's going to help you become better. And here's what I want to give you as advice too. Sometimes we take feedback personally instead of just taking it as feedback. Feedback is feedback. It just means here's how that went, or here's how that person perceived it. One thing that's really funny is when I first married Charles, he told me, and this is feedback, right? He said, hey, don't ask me a question if you're not ready for both answers. If you ask me whether or not you look fat in that dress, and you look fat in the dress, I'm going to tell you. So he warned me, okay? He said, don't ask me if you're not ready to hear both answers. And I think that's a really good way to live, right? Like, maybe I look good in this dress, maybe I don't. So sometimes I don't ask because I don't want to know what he's going to say, because I already know what I think about it. But feedback is a good thing, and it's your friend because it helps you to get better. That's all I got. That's what I wanted to share with you tonight. It's really been helping me. Hey, give me your feedback tonight. Was that helpful? If it was good, please share this. Consider sharing this. Make a comment. Let me know if there was anything in here that was helpful for you. Or let me know if there's a topic that you want me to talk about. I have so many things I could talk about. Being a mom, being a stepmom, being a corporate worker, a business owner, a Toastmaster, a preacher. What else do I do? A singer. Funny jokes, etc. All right. So I'm Letitia Randolph. Follow me. Twitter, but not on Twitter because I don't tweet. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, LinkedIn. Did I say that already? And then check out my husband's t-shirt business, righteousattire.biz. That's B-I-Z. Let me know which shirt you like the best and buy one. Show him some support. I love you all, and I will see you next Tuesday with Tuesdays with Tish. Don't forget to share. Let me know if you're watching the replay and if you join me live. No one told me that they were here tonight. Did you guys say anything? That's all right. We had a low audience tonight. That's feedback. It's my fault. I should have told everybody earlier. I'll see you next time. I'm going to go eat my chili dogs. Bye.